Oh, hello. In today's video, we're going to talk about the newly previewed Strike Force Variel for Kill Team, new Space Marine Kill Team. It's made me really cross. So let's get straight into it. Those of you who follow every video on this channel know I've spoken about this before. It is our worst fears confirmed. They've said in the article, every display unit will have 8 blind boxes, but there is no guarantee you will get all 7 miniatures if you buy a full dispenser of 8 boxes. I mean, at least they're telling us, I guess. But this is really, really, really bad. And it's really hot right now in the UK, and I almost don't have the energy to get all worked up and tell you how grim it is. It's gambling, and do you know I'm not, as I've said before, I'm not like stoically anti-gambling. I like to buy a lottery ticket. Occasionally I back a horse, right? But these things are things that I would call mindful gambling. You know that you're gambling, and they're age restricted, right? You've got to be an adult to do these things. Is it still 16 for the lottery? But even so, they are age restricted. This is gambling in the context of kids' toys. And it's very frustrating because they are, and if you read the whole article, they are marketing it as a simple and easy way to get into Kill Team, right? The rules are simple, easy. It's an easy beginner team. It's being marketed in the context of a beginner product for people that they quite like 40k and they hope to get into Kill Team, and they're like, oh, collect these, and then you can play a game with them. And you don't get a usable set unless you get lucky, right? You don't get the full set unless you get lucky. Now, I don't know much more to say about it. Go and look at my previous video where I get much more hilariously wound up about it and go on a rant. At the moment, I just feel exhausted by the whole thing. They did this with the Warhammer Heroes, the Age of Sigmar ones, where it wasn't guaranteed if you bought a whole box. And I said at the time, if they do this again for the 40k one, no matter how good they are, I'm going to boycott them. So here we are. I think we need to boycott this product. I'm calling on everybody who watches this, who respects my opinion, to not buy Space Marine Heroes. This Space Marine Heroes set, or any other Warhammer Heroes set where they don't row back on this decision to ship the whole set in each dispenser. Now, we can still actually have a nice time and get excited, because if you really look at these models, right, they look really standard, okay? You got the Reaver with a rifle. I mean, nobody builds Reavers with rifles, but you can. That's an option in the multi-part Reavers kit. I bet you didn't know. You've got a bog standard intercessor and a bog standard assault intercessor. You probably already have those. Okay. We've got an infiltrator with carbine. You play Phobos, you've probably got one of them, right? Infernus Marines. The Infernus Marine is literally the Marine they give you in Games Workshop if you go in and go, what is a Warhammer? I have never done this before. Can I paint a Space Marine? The free Space Marine they give you is an Infernus Marine, right? So easily got hold of, okay? The only sticking point with the two heroes at the front, so the guy on the left is a sergeant with an Inferno, a combi melter. Combi melters for Space Marines are relatively hard to come by. And then the last model is an as yet to be revealed one. So combi melters in the Stern Guard set, combi melters not really anywhere else in the currently available kit. And the Stern Guard one, annoyingly, is holding it like across his chest in both hands. So those two are the sticking points. The other five, they look really basic, and you can bash them out from almost anywhere. In fact, this is what I did. So I got really annoyed. I got really, really cross when I found out the news that we were getting this Warhammer Heroes kit, and it was once again going to be like limited. It was going to be a gambling thing, right? So I looked in the cupboard under the stairs. Look, I've been playing Games Workshop games since I was 11, and I'm 38, right? And so I just did the best I could to bash things together. So I had one multi-part Reaver. He is missing a shoulder pad, right? But otherwise, that's a just perfectly standard multi-part Reaver. I found a sergeant who was doing the pointing thing from, I think he was one of the Marines that you get for free or for nearly free from Games Workshop around the time of like 8th edition, I want to say, like one of the starter sets or like the paint sets or whatever else. He was just knocking around. I clipped off his bolt rifle and I glued on, and I'm really showing my age now. I had a tactical box. It's actually a tactical box that I bought comparatively recently to get some cool helmets and stuff for my other Marines. In fact, you can see that assault intercessor in the back there with the beaky helmet, right? So I put the combi melter on from there, and then I had a back banner. Back banner, I don't think it's from that tactical marine set. Back banner is literally from the 90s, I think, from a random box of bits. Because the official one has he's a bit fancy. He's only a sergeant, but he's got this fancy tabard, right? So I don't want anyone to be able to say, "Oh, I didn't know which one was your sergeant because the melter nozzle is a bit small, really." So I stick a flag on his back, right? And if anybody says, "Oh, I can shoot you now because your flag is sticking out over the top of our building," then yeah, technically yes. I have already won that game though. At that point, where you say that, because any fool, I would have thought, would be perfectly happy to play a game where you just go, yeah. You shouldn't even have to say, yeah. By the way, just ignore my banner pole, obviously, for the purposes of line of sight. But like, yeah, I don't care. I might just paint it up lovely freehand, and then if someone says, "Oh, you should win the banner," I'll just snap the banner off in front of them and be like, "Are you now happy? Is there now more joy in the world?" So, yeah, I've got the banner on, and if people are going to be like, "Oh, that model is too tall," then sod 'em. He's also got a really cool head. I think this is like an unused, unhelmeted head from a cool, like limited edition Space Marine Sergeant that I bought at some point. I've sold most of my Space Marines, right? So these are really the dregs of things that I didn't sell because they were too bitty and pointless to be selling, right? And yet here we are. The Infiltrator in the back. So the Infiltrator was more difficult. I don't know where that head is from. It might even be an Infiltrator head, but it kind of looks like it should be. I didn't have any spare Infiltrators. What I had was some push-fit Reavers, right? Hence the dark blue plastic. So I got a push-fit Reaver and I kind of chopped bits off it, and then I had spare parts from having built my Phobos kill team. I could have just used an Infiltrator from my Phobos kill team, but my Phobos kill team is painted Red Hunters, and I wanted to just steal the Intercessor and the Assault Intercessor from my Angels of Death, who are painted Lamenters. So these 3 extra miniatures are going to be Lamenters. Now, I am missing a couple of Phobos shoulder pads. Zimbad thinks he might have some, so I'm going to wait to see if he finds some for me. And then if he can't find any, we'll have to have a look on eBay or maybe a 3D printing adventure to get those Phobos shoulder pads. That's the point. And also, we missed the Infernus Marine, but I'm going to go to Games Workshop on Saturday and see if I can get one of their promotional Infernus Marines. And then I'll have the whole kill team that isn't out yet. Amazing. Well, not the unrevealed miniature, but I'll kit bash that once I know what it is, right? So let's look and think about rules now. So Sternguard Sergeant Ramus, or Veteran Sergeant Ramus, as his card calls him, we've actually seen the rules for him, okay? So let's try and go through this. It says, Veteran Sergeant Ramus, 3 APL, 6-inch move, 3 up save, and 15 wounds. So exactly what you'd expect for an Intercessor Sergeant, right? Now he's got a combi melter, brackets, bolter, which appears to be 4 dice, hitting on, that looks like a 3 to me. Sorry, Sergeant fans. Looks like hitting on 3s, 3-4 damage, and then it looks like Torrent on a bolter. It looks to say Torrent, and then that's either a 1 or a 2 inches. I imagine it's Torrent 1 inch. Don't really know why bolters have Torrent 1 inch now, but maybe that's what they have, okay? Then we got the Combi Melter, 4 dice, hitting on 3s, I think, yeah. 6, 8, I imagine, range 6, dev 4, limited 1, piercing 2. So it's a melter gun, but it's only 1 shot of a melter gun, and then you've just got a fellow with a bolter. Not bad. You just have to see what the context of the whole team is, right? But like a 1-shot melter gun on a Space Marine Sergeant's not bad. Then he has a version of the Astartes rule. So during this operative activation, it can perform either the shoot action. It can perform either 2 shoot actions or 2 fight actions. The operative can counteract regardless of order. Okay, which is a very concise version of Astartes, but broad strokes we got there. And then we've got Relics of the Chapter. Normal and critical damage of 3 or more inflicts 1 less damage on this operative. So he's got DR1 just forever. Doesn't need to roll the thing, and he's 15 wounds. So, you know, you're going to be able to run up the board. You're going to get your 1 melter shot, more than likely, and then you're just going to have a guy running around with 15 wounds and damage reduction and a bolter, making a nuisance of himself. It's not bad. We'll look at the keywords. Strike Force Variel, Imperium, Adeptus Astartes, something, and then Veteran Sergeant Ramos. Okay, so that's basically where we are with rules reveals. What follows is like informed speculation. So Infernus Marine, we don't know what the Infernus Marine is going to do, so we can infer. I mean, I think we can infer from this stat line that the rest of them are going to be APL 3, 6-inch move, 3 up save, 14 wounds. They might keep that very permissive version of Astartes, so maybe the Infernus Marine gets to fire his Pyre Blaster twice. Spicy, right? If they keep it, because normally it's got like this, one of the weapons must be a bolt weapon, like clause. Now maybe on his card they'll print that, and they just haven't printed it on the Veteran Sergeant's card because you know, it's not needed. But like we know that Games Workshop, there isn't like one version of Astartes now. Every team has its own version of Astartes. So maybe these guys will be able to, like the Plague Caster can Astartes with 2 different plague psychic range attacks. So maybe he gets Pyre Blast twice. That's cool. So in 40k, a Pyre Blaster is the same as a Flamer, but with +1 strength and +1 AP. So is the Pyre Blaster then going to be a Flamer for kill team, but it's going to be 4/4 damage, and it's going to gain, I would guess, Piercing Crits 1. I think Piercing Crits 1 will be cool on a Flamer because it means because it's with it having the flat damage profile, right, of 3/3, which we speculate could become 4/4. Piercing crits make you feel that your crits do something. Like, that's cool. That would be a great weapon, powerful. You know, is it more powerful than, like, it's in the context of the team? I don't think it's broken, right? Like, because as we're going to see, they don't have much else that seems. Yeah, they got a combi melter, it's 1 melter shot, and then they got this thing. And even if they're firing this thing twice, and even if it's 4 dice hitting on 2s, 4/4, right, with all the flamer rules and piercing crits 1, that's the team. Like, I know that prediction seems good, but the team kind of needs something, as we're going to see. So then we got Assault Intercessor. We have no reason to think that this guy is going to be any different from the Assault Intercessors that we already get in Angels of Death. So I'm just going to say it's going to be exactly the same. Assault Intercessors aren't bad, man. You know, they're not bad, but I reckon that's what he's going to be. Okay. Then we got Infiltrator Belath. Yeah, be interesting to see if he retains. You know, we know Infiltrators have the Vanguard kind of rule where they can do the pickup, mission action, spawn SAP. Be interesting to see if it retains that, right, and retains the 7-inch move and the lower wounds value and all these things. The Marksman Bolt Carbine, it doesn't light my world on fire, does it? Like, 4 attacks hitting on 3, 3/4, lethal 5 up. Yeah. Whether this guy will just be this, like, I could see it. They want him to be a simple team, right? And don't forget, we are going to probably see ploys and things like that for them in the fullness of time when the full rules come out on the app. So whether they'll have something that, like, gives you an ability similar, like, I could see him as the one infiltrator on the team having a really powerful ability that's similar to the Omni Scramblers that the Phobos team has, right? So we could have things like that. But on the face of it, this is what we're probably going to get. Right, at least in the first. I imagine this will come out with 2 iterations of the rules. They'll come up with a sort of simplistic version, and then they'll get more stuff layered on later, I'm imagining. Then we've got Intercessor Zeradim, right, which again, it's going to be an intercessor. We think it's going to have a bolt rifle. We can tell that from the miniature, the visual one that they showed off, right? It's not an auto bolt rifle, it's not a stalker bolt rifle, it's a bolt rifle. It's going to be an intercessor with a bolt rifle. I don't think there's anything wrong with an intercessor with a bolt rifle. It's a perfectly solid thing to have, right? It just doesn't excite me or give me much to talk about in my video, right? And then Reaver Naraden. Yeah, nobody who played Phobos would ever give their Reavers bolt carbines, because their pistols, which this guy doesn't have like piercing 1 or piercing crits 1, something. This guy has accurate 1 and long range, and some fists. Right? Now we can make assumptions. He's got the grav chute modelled on, so is he going to have the whole thing of climbing up for each the vertical distance of 2? When he drops, ignore the vertical distance. But of course, that rule represents grav chutes and grapple launchers. Maybe for this team, he just gets the when he drops, ignore the vertical distance part of the rule. It's not that exciting, but I imagine there's going to be more to come as yet to be revealed. And again, probably some version of the Vanguard rule, possibly, right, where you can do mission actions for free. And then the Mystery Lieutenant, they showed a silhouette. Cleverer heads than me have already kind of worked out that this is going to be some kind of Phobos armored lieutenant. There are 2 prior existing Phobos armored lieutenants. One which is, I mean, the Phobos lieutenants are kind of weird. One is like armed more like an infiltrator, but has the backpack of the Reaver, and the other is armed like a Reaver but has a normal like grav shootless backpack. So people are looking at the silhouette and looking at the knife and the fact that it's got that very classic little detail on the tip of the knife and saying it must be a Reaver type knife. Although the incursory style one also has a knife that has that shape to the tip. It's just a little bit smaller. So it's hard to know which way this is going to go necessarily. That gun looks weird to me. It looks quite long and it's got these weird ridges on it. If you look at the gun in the silhouette, it's got like these weird bands across it. So there's like, if I just put my mouse on, I'm talking about, where's my mouse? I'm talking about these here, right? This one, and this one. There are these 3 like lines. So if we can work out what kind of gun is it possible that he's got some kind of a grav pistol or a plasma pistol or something weird going on there? Not quite sure. It doesn't look. It looks a little bit round, but maybe that's just the silhouette. It doesn't quite look like it's a regular carbine. We'll see. We'll have to see. Hopefully, something relatively easy to kit bash. I have this middle lieutenant model in a box somewhere, so hopefully I can do a kit bash based on him. I don't have this one. I'd have to buy that one, and I don't really want to give Games Workshop any money. And that's it. So that's it. That's it. The whole video. Will you please join me in not buying the models? Just don't buy Warhammer Heroes. The team does seem a bit lackluster. Speaking of the rules now, the team does seem a bit lackluster, but the power exists. It's going to be in the things like the ploys, the team-wide rules, and everything else, right? We'll probably get a watered-down version with just the data cards, like we initially did for Justian, and then I imagine that the full rules will come out a little bit after that. It really annoys me, and you can go and read their own marketing stuff. The link's in the description. Really annoys me that this is the beginner product that is aimed at enticing new people to get into Kill Team, and it's also the one with the sort of toxic gambling thing on it. What can you do? Please subscribe, comment, like, etc., and consider joining the Discord, all that good stuff. And I want to say a big thank you to all my members, but especially to Alex, who subscribed at the higher tier. Thanks, Alex. You're a real gentleman. Okay? All right, guys. Have a good one. I'm sorry, by the way, there was no live stream today. It is too hot. It is too hot in the UK to exist. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye. Bye.